You know what's cool? Combos. There's just something so satisfying about the feeling of landing that perfect sequence of attacks. When you really get in the zone, when you stop thinking and just become one with the game. It's like art in motion. Now, when you think of combos, you might think of hack and slash or fighting games, but combos are also a key feature of card games. So I got to thinking, what would it look like if you tried to put a card game into a fast-paced, real-time combat system? Well, there's this really cool indie game called One Step from Eden that answers that question. Basically, it's an action roguelite crossed with a card game. The goal in combat is to string together powerful combinations of cards to eliminate your opponents while darting around a grid to avoid damage. It's pretty hectic, but it's a lot of fun. I think this sort of real-time card game system would be a great fit for a stylish action game like Devil May Cry. The only problem is, well, I don't have the budget or the manpower to make that kind of game, so I did what every aspiring indie developer does and decided to make a 2D platformer instead. Specifically, I'm making a Metroidvania because I want the focus to be more on combat than on platforming. Anyway, here's what I've done so far. For now, I've just got this simple level with some platforms and a couple of enemies. The player and enemy sprites are free assets from the Unity Asset Store, and I downloaded some sound and particle effects from a couple different places. I followed some online tutorials to get a basic character controller, and then from there I added some extra features like jump buffering and coyote time, just to make it easier for the player to jump when they want to without requiring extreme precision. I also added the ability to jump on enemies like in Devil May Cry, because who doesn't love air combos? Now, all of this is pretty standard stuff for platformers, so I won't go into too much detail, but I do want to talk about the card system a bit. Right now, the player has a deck of 30 cards and a hand size of 4. You can select which card you want to play using the 1, 2, 3, and 4 keys, and every time you attack you'll use the selected card. Using a card will automatically draw a new card in its place until you run out of cards in your deck, in which case the discard pile will be shuffled back into the deck automatically. Left click is used for melee attacks, and right click is used for ranged attacks, which have similar effects but are slightly weaker. The red card deals big damage, the blue card freezes enemies, the green card heals the player, and the magenta card summons this cute little cat thing. Isn't it adorable? For now it just shoots projectiles and then disappears after a few seconds, but I'll probably update that later. These cards are mostly just placeholders, and I plan to add a lot more cards that do more interesting things in the future. But in case you're wondering how all this works, let me show you how I made it. The cards all derive from an abstract parent card class, which contains the methods for playing the card either as a melee attack or a ranged attack. Each unique card has its own class that implements those methods and contains parameters for the damage and any other effects that the card will trigger. The cards are managed by the card manager. Anyway, it contains the methods for selecting and playing the cards. There's also the board class, which keeps track of which cards are in the deck, which are in the player's hand, and which are in the discard pile. It also implements the methods for drawing, discarding, and shuffling the cards, and most of these are pretty straightforward, except for the shuffle method. And I'll be honest, I have no idea how it works. I just googled how to shuffle a list and found the algorithm for the Fisher-Yates shuffle. And it does what it's supposed to, so that's good enough for me. Now obviously there's still a lot of work to do. As I said, I want to add more cards that have fun synergies with each other, and I also want to keep tweaking the character movement to get it feeling just right. I plan to add more unique attack animations as well, because as it is now I just have the one animation. But in order to do that I'll need to replace the free assets with some custom art. It's going to be a long journey, but I think this is a good start and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Anyway, that just about wraps it up for now. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if there are any features that you think I should add to the game, and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to see any updates in the future. Bye!